Hello and welcome back to Dr. Logic is still awkwardly doing logic because logic never ends. We're going to go through some examples to put together the things I've been telling you about how to construct a predicate logic language and then translate things into it. So I've already gone ahead and put up a little scenario on our whiteboard so that we can talk about it. It's conversation between two friends, Julian and Bethany, the sort of thing that you could imagine happening in pre-pandemic times. Julian says, "Are you going to the party tomorrow? Everyone else is." And Bethany says, "That's not true. Alice will only go if Max's sister does. But if either Nick or Osman go, Max won't go, and Max's sister won't go anywhere without him. So either Alice won't be there or Nick and Osman won't, so not everyone else is going." Julian, "Okay, so not everyone else is. Who cares? Are you going?" Bethany, "No, I'm having too much fun doing my logic homework." So here is a relatively kind of natural sort of English language thing that we might want to represent in a logical language. In particular, this second sentence of Bethany's here is rejecting a claim that Julian has made and then giving an argument for rejecting it. So this is something that we might want to see what the logical structure is. So first thing that we would have to do is define a language. Language consists of constants, functions, predicates, and relations. So what constants might we want to have? Look through your text and identify any of the proper names. Julian, Bethany, Alice, Nick, Osman, Max. Now, Julian and Bethany don't actually turn up in any of the things that they're talking about. So we can put constants for them in our language, but we don't necessarily need to. I'm going to focus on the ones that actually just occur in the speech. So we have A for Alice, N for Nick, O for Osman, and M for Max. So we've got a conveniently mnemonic constants. Next, we want to look for functions. So recall that functions take objects and return other objects. So they don't give us sentences that can be evaluated as true or false. They can give us objects that things can be predicated of. And we've got one of these functions. It is this function, sister of. So this is the function that you plug in Max and it gives us his sister. Now we don't know what her name is because it's never mentioned, but we can refer to her and only her through a specific indication just by calling her Max's sister. So this is a unary function. So we'll use S to represent it. And I'm just going to give it a subscript 1 to indicate that it's unary. So there we go. Next, we want to identify any sort of properties of individual objects or relations between objects. In this particular case, there's really only one kind of characteristic that we are interested in, and it is whether the person is going to the party tomorrow or not. So there's going to the party tomorrow. There's a couple of different ways we could approach this. If this were part about a more general conversation of going to parties, then maybe you would want to relate people and times. So this, X is going to a party at Y. If we were talking about going various places, but doing it all tomorrow, then you might want to have, say, X going to Y tomorrow. So maybe the question is, are you going to the party tomorrow or are you going to the store tomorrow? If you had that kind of context, then you might want to say, okay, it's the going to that's important and the tomorrowness that's important. And then there are different options that we can slot in for where you are going. In this context, because it just is, are you going to the party tomorrow? We are going to introduce a unary predicate. So we'll call it capital G. It's also a one-place predicate, and it just is going to the party tomorrow. So we'll fold it all into one. Now that we have this, we can, actually, because we've got statements like everyone else is going to the party tomorrow, that implicitly is covering both Julian and Bethany. So let us go in and add their constants as well. So the first sentence here is a question. Questions are not within the scope of classical predicate logic. So we ignore that. So the first sentence that we have is everyone else is going to the party. Let's see if I can get another color. So here we go. Sentence 1. Everyone else is going to the party. So this is making a statement about all people, but it's making a restriction. So we're talking about everything that is not Bethany. So if it's not Bethany, then it's going to the party. Next sentence is the denial of that. That's not true. So stick a negation on the front of the previous one. It's not true that everything, if it is not Bethany, then it is going to the party. So why? She says because Alice goes only if Max's sister goes. So, oops, label that one. Number 3 says, if Alice goes, well, Max's sister going is a necessary condition for Alice's going. So if Alice goes, then the sister of Max also goes. So we've used our one place function here. You'll note I haven't put the subscripts on because we don't have to worry about disambiguating between, say, a one place function S and a two place function. It just is. So nothing is ambiguous in our representation here. Then we've got another claim, this one here, that if either Nick or Osmond go, then Max won't. So we've got if either Nick goes or Osmond goes, or both, because it's an inclusive disjunction, then it's not the case that Max will go. Fifth sentence is Max's sister won't go without him. So this is also indicating a necessary condition that if the sister of Max goes, then Max did too. So similar sort of condition that we have with number 3. Now, you might even be kind of thinking back to your propositional reasoning and be like, oh, look, we've got a conditional here. GA implies GSM. GSM implies GM. Well, if Alice goes, then Max goes. You can already start seeing how all of propositional logic still feeds into the predicate language that we're talking about. But we still have more sentences. We've got another one that says either Alice won't be there or Nick and Osmond won't. So that's number 6. So either Alice won't be there or both Nick and Osmond won't be. So it's important here that we have this set of parentheses because this would not be the same thing as, let me just write it over here so you can see, for instance, this is an entirely different sentence. So I've just switched the placement of the parentheses, doesn't mean the same thing. So it's very important that we have our parentheses to indicate which of the two connectives is the main connective. And then, of course, we have the final statement, number 7, which is just the statement that it's not the case that Bethany is going. We'll probably come back to this example at some point in the future just to see, is this a reasonable argument? Is it the case that not everybody is going to the party, even if they aren't Bethany? So Some of the sentences in this dialogue will be relevant to determining whether this is a good argument, and some of them won't be. This is, again, part of the interpretational issue. This was a fairly narrow example. The next one that I'm going to do will give us a lot more scope of, first of all, just determining what it is that we can say about a collection of objects. So if you're having fun with this, come back and join me next time because we've got more translating to do. Take care. See you then. Cheers.